Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Vacation is over. Welcome on into today's edition of PHLY Union Podcast. I am one of your hosts, JP Zapata. Joined as always with Renee Washington. Renee! Guys,
JP!
Can I just take a quick second?
Oh, no.
I missed both of you. I missed Renee, I missed Tyler. It feels like it's been like a month, but it's only been like a week. But it's good seeing you guys and talking Union soccer.
You know,
it's not really exciting, but we'll talk about it.
JP, I've missed you. You know, it's been a very long time since I've seen you. I can't say the same for the other guy over there because I've seen him every day for the last 2 weeks. But Tyler, I've missed you too. I haven't seen you since about 10 minutes ago. But JP, I feel like, you know, we were traveling, you were traveling, like we were all here
around the world.
Basically, it was PHLY Global. We became, you know, just world travelers for a week. But I'm glad you got to live your best life in Puerto Rico. And it seemed like you had a fantastic time.
Much needed. Got some sun, got some good food. Now we got to do some soccer training because I need to lose some weight. But no, it's definitely much needed. I always say got to recharge those batteries. But yeah, Renee, we have some things to talk about since the last time you and I
has
spoke.
changed. I haven't seen you in over a week.
Yeah, it has been over a week.
Because it was the Monday of show. And there's been so much that has happened since that Monday.
Not a lot of positivity. You know my optimistic ass. It's not looking so good so far. But yeah, we're obviously going to talk about everything with Kevin Sullivan. I'm going to give you some of my thoughts over the Austin match. And of course, we do have a match this upcoming Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, as the Union playing some late night doops this upcoming Saturday in Portland, Oregon. What you're going to be drinking to stay up? That's going to be a long Saturday for a lot of us in Philadelphia.
So the truth, the only way I can stay up is if I have to I need to go out. Basically, I'm gonna have to go out Saturday night and then come back from a bar or something and watch the game. Yep. Otherwise, I'm gonna be asleep.
Bring your stress and get go out and then come back and watch the Union.
Don't be part of my stress. I honestly don't drink coffee. I don't nap, really.
That's actually new to me. I did not know you don't drink coffee.
I know, this is just me all the time.
Wow,
this is just how I am. I wake up like this. I go to bed like this. I woke up like this. I'm just a ball of energy. Yeah, I'm smelling it. It smells strong. I feel like I'm getting secondhand coffee high. But I will say that 10:30 p.m. start is a nightmare. And there's many other 10:30 p.m. starts that are happening. I don't know, honestly. I'm going to do my best. That's all that's all I can guarantee is I'm going to do my best. But other than that, there's no guarantee I'm going to be awake. Even I want to say the Chicago game I was literally awake the entire time. And then the last 30 seconds I fell asleep and I was ready for the press conference. And then I woke up and I was like, ah! And I was like,
Jim, I'm ready.
Okay, Jim, I have a question. And then I realized I fell asleep. So it's fine. Everything's fine.
Listen, this is going to be one of my few complaints here today. But because you cover the Phillies as well, we obviously, when we go to the West Coast, we have some very late games. Why can't we just come to an agreement down the middle? You know what? I would do 9 o'clock. You know, we'll compromise with an hour.
10:30?
10:30 is late as hell.
It's so late. I don't think it should be anything after 9:30. I think it's disrespectful. And I'm a LeBron James fan, so I watch a lot of Lakers games too, and I've had the same issue with that. Anytime, whether it's for work or for personal, and the game starts after 9:30, there's no guarantee I'm still going to be awake. Even if I'm in person, I might be asleep at the stadium. Who knows? But at the end of the day, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time, 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. Can't y'all do like you said, 6 o'clock, 5:30 Pacific time, which is now 8:30, 9-ish. I can squeeze that. I can slide with a 9.
Yeah, I mean that's.
I'm not.
Besides the fact that it's too late, obviously we have an international break as well.
That's after my bedtime. I don't even stay awake that late.
You guys are killing Renee's sleep schedule.
I feel like a 5-year-old, but it's I don't really stay up past 10 o'clock.
I don't blame Renee.
Unless I'm on break or something, and Like in Clearwater, I actually stayed up past 10 o'clock. Tyler was making fun of me because he's like, I thought you go to bed at 10. And I was like, 12 o'clock, I go, let's go.
When in Clearwater, Tyler?
Yeah, it's different. But on a daily, like regular, like work day or something, I'm not staying up past 10. But it's a Saturday, so maybe I'll live on the edge and be up.
It's a duping night on Saturday. We'll obviously talk about that match. We'll talk about the international break stuff. We'll talk about Kevin Sullivan too, but Renee, I want to start off because obviously we haven't been together since that Austin match. I just want to briefly touch upon some things.
Do we have to?
Within that match, unfortunately, we kind of have to.
I'm just kidding.
But, I mean, so if anyone who watched the preview show with Michelle Sanchez, by the way, shouts out to her. It was a great episode. Definitely check it out again if you'd like. But the one thing I talked about with Michelle, Renee, was I just needed them. I didn't really care if we drew. What I needed, though, was for them to show out with intensity, because you should have been pissed at the way CCC ended this year. And I didn't get that at all. And in fact, I got the complete opposite. Like the fact that they allowed those 2 goals at the beginning of the second half in the span of what was like 2-3 minutes, like that was unacceptable. I could take a draw, right? I can take a draw, especially on the road. But the fact is that that was the performance you gave us after that Pachuca thumping. That's unacceptable in my opinion. That's just where I'm at right now with this team.
Unacceptable.
The back line looked atrocious. They looked out of place. The attack, I mean, we keep coming at Daniel Gazek. We have to continue. And then, by the way, we're going to have to put the wanted signs all over Philadelphia because we're still looking for Michael Uwa in the 2024 season because he has not shown up. So it's the most frustrating draw we've witnessed in a long time.
Frustration.
That's how I felt since Saturday. And on vacation. You ruined my vacation.
Ruining vacation. Just echoing all your thoughts because it's, Tyler and I talked about it on Tuesday, and it's frustrating when you look at how the Union tie. First of all, they had obviously an entire close to last season where they went through, the final 6 games tying, the ridiculous amount of draws to close out the 2023 regular season. So it's almost like it just carried right over into this season. And then what makes it worse is, and Tyler actually brought up the great point on Tuesday, is when you look at when and how they tie and score, they're barely tying. These are games come back and get where, the tie. Sporting Kansas City, Chicago, you're scoring late in the game. Austin was a 66-minute goal. Like, that's not as late. But these are games where you're barely squeezing out a tie. And these aren't teams that are top of their respective conference. Portland actually is a team right now with their 2 wins that is sitting in the top of their standings for the West. That's the first team that they've played. They've actually been playing teams that you really should. The Union, realistically, even with the CONCACAF Champions Cup games that added more to their schedule so quickly, realistically should have at least 2 wins right now.
Yeah.
On paper. But when you look at how they've been performing and how they've been playing, it's been very inconsistent and very all over the place. And it's been frustrating because it's been stretches of like one day Mikel Uwa shows up. I know, Julian, you're saying you felt like Mikel played well at Austin. What's up, Julian? Nice to have you here. Hit that thumbs up button as you guys trickle in and join the conversation. But then you'll have another day where it's Daniel Gazdag. And then it's another day. It's so inconsistent. It's all over the place. And their results are every time us holding our breath, happy that they just walked away with a tie versus, there are different types of ties, like a 0-0 tie where you just can't score and, you're all around the goal. That's one thing. Maybe you dominate, but it just wasn't your day. You just can't score. Even like Portland's loss to Houston, where you dominate, you have the better chances. Your opponent comes down, gets one lucky chance and scores. Hate those games, but I understand those games. But to have multiple ties at this point in the season where you are barely there, holding on for dear life and squeezing out a tie is a frustrating beginning to the 2024 MLS season.
Yeah.
And so, yes, on one side you can say the Union are undefeated. That's fantastic. On the other side, they are still winless against teams that we've predicted and had the expectation aren't going to be as, top of the East or the West, top of the standings. So Chicago, Sporting Kansas City, Austin, these aren't teams that you should be barely tying. These are teams that you should be able to, you get that goal by Daniel Gazdag in the early 11 minutes, you keep scoring, you keep the pressure on, and you walk away there with like a nice 2-0, maybe 3-1 win if you give up a goal. But to give up back-to-back goals and just have these lulls where you're falling asleep, did you see how the goals happened?
Yeah.
Not good. Not good at all. And I know we talked about that, and it's been frustrating that I remember us sitting in our other studio having a conversation saying that I felt as though the Union defensively were just leaving guys unmarked and playing very lax in how they were recovering back. And you look at that, their body language and body shape's off. You should never be facing your goal. Mm-hmm. And then you always should be, as the other team's attacking, you're getting organized. Like, I'd love to see them pointing and getting guys match up. Hey, drop in, Nate, get goal side. Damian, get touch tight. Like, I'd love to see that type of communication. You don't see any of that from the Union at times. There are times it's there, but it's not consistent enough. And this is, in this league, with how close this league is, you can't afford to have those 3 minutes of shutdown where you just allow them to have runners free in the box. You're reaching for it. You're not getting your body behind it, and you're allowing them to score. Just it's unacceptable. But Will, what's up? Nice to have you here, buddy.
Yeah, no. So to the Michael Ua point. So in the first half, I didn't think he looked good at all. I'll be honest with you. Second half, I thought he picked it up, but the goals, I think he scored like a similar goal early in the year. Yeah. Whereas someone makes I think it was Quinn on this again. Someone make a great run where Ua was in the right spot, and the person who made that run put the ball in the perfect spot. And that's just what I've been seeing from Ua. When we got Ua, and what I thought we were getting was someone who was going to be able to create chances, someone when you needed it the most to be able to score goals. I quite honestly have not been able to see that. I've seen a guy who's been great off the ball. I've seen a guy with capabilities of doing that on a consistent basis, but I just haven't been able to see that. And that's kind of the frustrating part. Organization defensively, it's been pretty messy for the most part this season. Messy. And that's been a big problem too, because these guys have constantly been on the same page. And that is super frustrating. And obviously, I do get concerned of Andre. Obviously, the health part of it early in the year, he seems to be healthy right now. Obviously, he's going away with Jamaica too. But where's his mentals at right now? Because we all remember some of the comments that he made with the offseason that we had, the lack of signings. And then, of course, you get thumped by Pachuca. He's definitely not happy about that after that match as well. So you kind of wonder where their mental's at. And Renee, I hate to be like this. I am a Philly sports fan. We're all Philly sports fans. I went with this with the Eagles, if you remember.
Yeah.
If you remember
the
beginning of the Birds season, they won 10-1. And a lot of those games, they had to come back. They won it in the last minutes.
That's a great comparison, actually. It's not good.
Look how that imploded. And the thing is, too, Renee, the Eagles this year had a lot of players come back from that Super Bowl team. The Union run this bad boy back for 3 straight years. So how are we not supposed to feel a little bit on edge when we're watching the same exact thing for another season?
And you watch other teams are continuing to make changes. And much like the Eagles this past season, the Union currently, it's stale. It's predictable.
It's pretty stale.
Every game, the way they attack. Listen, they switched it up. They went with the 4-3-3 instead of their usual 4-4-2 lineup. Yeah. Didn't mix up formation. But other than that, you know exactly their best chances are going to come off of set pieces. Their first goal comes off of Kai Wagner's set piece, leads to a handball. They're going to be a team that's going to convert on services and flank services. But in the run of play, they're not going to create. They're not going to break you down. And for us to continuously be saying the same thing over and over again here now in late March that we were saying in November, in October, that is what is so similar to the Eagles, because it was the exact same thing. We kept saying, but at least they're winning. But at least they're winning. At least they're tying for the Union. At least they're not, they're not losing. At some point, that catches up to you if you're not making real adjustments. And to be honest, what concerns me the most, what do those adjustments even look like? Because the Union haven't been, they haven't brought anybody in. Marcus Anderson, solid addition as a role player off the bench.
Exactly.
Ali Bedoya's change in his role is needed. But other than that, there haven't been any real changes to this group other than Quinn Sullivan being an everyday starter and being able to help in the midfield. So you have Mikel Ua and Daniel Gonzaga are what we used to call opportunists in soccer. They're the guys that you don't really notice them as much between the 18s, but then in the box, they're always in the right spot. They're always in that place to knock home the goal. But they're not the one that's working, creating the goal, like a Quinn Sullivan, who was more of that creator, of the guy that's you see all over the pitch, buzzing around, getting involved, setting people up, breaking down defenders, creating opportunities, creating shots, corners, whatever it is. And you noticed him in the box. And so they have to, Ua and Gonzaga are those guys, as you mentioned, that goal is right place, right time, ball gets dropped to your feet, you better make it. And he did. Versus him being able to be someone that is wreaking havoc and running all over back lines and stretching them and creating chances and taking players on 1v1. We're not getting that from him. So, yes, his performance was better in the second half, but it's still what you need from your top dogs. You're not getting that right now.
Yeah.
Julian Carranza is the only one. Quinn Sullivan, the only one that you can say consistently an offensive threat. So I do hope that at some point, there has to be something major that changes. It can't be that if Carranza's out, there goes the team. They've got nothing. What happens if you need somebody else to step up? What happens if an injury happens? What happens if he leaves? There's nobody else really that you can rely on. So I honestly am most nervous because here we are in March as we go into the international break, which is going to be even more eye-opening. And it's like, wait a minute, where and what can the Union realistically do to change things up? They don't have depth, as we talked about. They don't have those pieces. It's Jesus Bueno, it's Ty Baribo, it's Chris Donovan, Marcus Anderson, it's Olivier Mbaizo on the back line, or obviously there's 3 center backs rotating between Jack, Jacob, and Damian. Who can they get that change from? Who can be that spark? Who can help lift them up? So I know, Julian, you're saying, maybe the backups will inject some new life, grasping for positivity here. And it definitely is harder to watch the Eagles make big moves and the Union don't. But it took the Eagles having to lose 6 of their last 7 games and falling apart at the end of the regular season and, of course, losing to Tampa Bay to really realize they needed to make changes.
Exactly.
It shouldn't have to be that for the Union. From the MLS Cup to last year's postseason, those 2 years should have been enough to realize you cannot just run it back and expect the same exact results. You've got to make change happen, and then that would make us more optimistic if they had brought in some pieces and made some realistic changes. But it's stressful right now, JP. It's very stressful. 2
contradicting aspects. Like the Eagles are like, no, let's just blow it up a little bit. The Union like, no, 3rd straight year. Things will change this year. Well, before we move forward, let's just change up a little bit of your tailgate aspect here, ladies and gentlemen, because I want to talk to you guys about one of our sponsors here today, and that is Coors Light, ladies and gentlemen. I just got back from Puerto Rico. Believe it or not, my favorite bar in Puerto Rico actually was sponsored by Coors Light.
Wow.
They were playing old school salsa. There was people dancing in the streets. It brought all the good vibes. I give you a little 1-2 step.
You don't dance either?
I dance. The salsa's not my expertise, but I'll give you a little.
That's better than some of the other guys that work here.
Hey, listen, give me a couple months, Tyler. We'll be looking like Cheyenne over there. But Coors Light, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about this because you guys clearly hear us. We're stressed out. The Union are stressing us out right now. So what do? We drink that Coors Light because that Rocky Mountain chill, you can feel that straight here in Philadelphia as well. This upcoming Saturday, pick Coors Light to drink right before the game. Stressful moments are no longer a thing. And you know what's best about Coors Light besides the light, refreshing taste that it has? You guys can get it delivered straight to the house, straight to the crib, ladies and gentlemen. All you got to do right now is head on over to CoorsLight.com/PHLY soccer. Again, CoorsLight.com/PHLY soccer to get it delivered straight to you. What is better than that? Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Thank you to Coors Light.
The only thing that might be better than getting Coors Light delivered to your house is getting it delivered to your brand new dream house. Because over at Mortgage CS, they can help you get prepared. The spring market is here, guys. We just had the official first day of spring. Rita's was handing out their free water ice, which means it's time for the house buying market to also heat up as well. So over at Mortgage CS, which stands for Mortgage Concierge Service, they are a white glove service located here in Philly. They're actually licensed in several states around the country. So if you're down south in Florida, which is where we just were, or maybe out west, California, Colorado, up in Massachusetts, anywhere around the country, even locally, Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, DC, they can work with you, licensed coast to coast. They really want to make sure to provide their customers the opportunity to be educated, empowered, find those ultra competitive rates, as well as stand out on the house buying market and making the best offers that work for you and your family, and not Mortgage CS and their bottom dollar. So over at Mortgage CS, not only do they help you find that beautiful home, the fixer-upper, the dream house, the first house, whatever house you're looking to buy, they can also help because they offer refinancing options. So that includes rate and term refinances for a rate payment reduction or cash out refinances to help you tap into home equity, fund any projects you may have, or even on the education side, any aspects of house buying, refinancing, or even if you just have a question. Maybe you want to talk about the Philadelphia Union and, vent about how frustrated you are with the team right now. Mortgage CS is available 24/7 to talk to you about any and everything. Their CEO, Ben, as well as Alec, have given you the option to reach out to them. You can reach out to Ben specifically. His phone number right there on your screen, smack dab on the right side. The phone number is 267-391-7425. You can reach out via email, ben@mortgagecs.com. And check out mortgagecs.com/PHOY to get started. Now, know that this advertisement is not a commitment to lend or extend credit. Mortgage CS is an equal housing opportunity mortgage broker, and all loans are subject to credit approval. Certain restrictions may apply. The company NMLS ID number 1464766. Visit mortgagecs.com for more information. JP, do you know what tune I was just hinting at?
Oh my God, I hope you have the same tune in mind, because I have the tune in my head with, and when you say that phone number, I only think of like Mike Jones when he sang like back then.
No, you missed it. I thought I clearly delivered it. I was saying it was squeezed on the right side.
This is gonna be another one I don't get.
On the right side.
No, I don't.
I'm squeezed in the middle.
Tyler, help me. I'm going.
Oh my gosh, you don't know it either?
Call
the commercial? It was the s'mores. Wait a minute. Now you guys have me.
Yeah, I got nothing.
No, it was a whole commercial, Chips Ahoy commercial with like, back in the day, this was early 2000s. Oh my gosh. It was the Chips Ahoy cream of chiz.
After watching the Nickelodeon doc, me and the
gosh,
nostalgia.
We got 2 cookies with like icing in the middle. And they had this whole commercial of them like squeezing the icing in the middle. And it'd be like, I'm squeezed in the middle, smack dab.
All right, well, here's
Google
your homework assignment. Go on YouTube and
Dang,
to Chips
I really
Ahoy,
thought it was a Chips.
squeeze in the middle commercial.
Yeah, look at this. Oh my gosh, I remember this like it was yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
I remember okay.
Yes.
I don't remember the song, but I remember that was good. That was good.
It was a great commercial.
Okay.
Oh man.
I'm sure someone has to remember that one. Come on, guys, help us out here. That was good.
I thought that was a layup. And I do remember the Mike Jones phone number. Yeah. Who?
Everyone calling him up.
Who?
But,
Mike Jones. There it is. I'm sorry. It's been a long couple of days.
We understand. It's been honestly, it's been a long season already. It's only
No.
It's only March.
Well, okay, so that's the other thing, and I feel like we all need to have a union therapy session together because
I think so.
Part of my frustration is it is only March.
It is only March.
You know, we're very early in the season, and it's way too early in the season to be feeling this kind of way about the Union, who are still seeking that first win, but have only played 3 MLS games, but I feel like they've played about 30.
So here's my main concern. So I'm looking at the schedule right now, right? So you got Minnesota, who, by the way, is one of the hottest teams in the MLS right now, as they have 3 wins on the season. Nashville, never easy playing Nashville.
Never.
Atlanta seems better this year. RSL, never easy. DC looks different this year than Orlando. Like, those are some tough matchups here. So
and by the time they play Orlando, I'm sure they'll be looking better too.
They'll also probably looking a lot better. It's still a lot of talent on that team. So my concern, though, Renee, is like, I watched this team play, like we talked about, gives me a lot of the Eagles vibes right now.
No.
And so, like, this is the problem when you run it back constantly. Like, where do these guys look to? Like, the league, a lot of these teams are getting substantially better. And, like, we are still living in 2021 here. Like, that's where my main concern. Like, where's the confidence? Where's the psyche? Where's the mentals at with this team? I know Allie's still around. Kai's still hanging here. Andre's still here. But, like, at some point, like, yes, work ethic will get you very far. But when you have teams that have work ethic and more talent, Renee, that's not a recipe for success for the Union.
No.
So that's really where my concern is, too. And you talked about the attack. Like, Jim predicates always the attack from the width, right? Like, that's why Kai is one of the leading assist leaders since 2019. Harriel's been doing a much better job, obviously, and Bies was much more of a threat there. But now with Quinn playing as that shuttler, he's getting more responsibility. He's doing a really good job as kind of like that width depth piece there. But then the thing is that, all right, so what if you don't have those outlets? What if you don't have that width?
Right.
How are you gonna attack down the center of the pitch? That's where they really do struggle. That's where I come at Ua. I come at Gazdak. Carranza, listen, you need Carranza to be in that final third, ready to get that ball and put it right in the back of the net. But I need guys like Ua and Gazdak to do a little bit more in the attack, and that's where the concern is. When the left is not there, the right's not there, you need someone down the center, you better keep waiting there.
I know. And what's up, Barbara?
Barbara?
Nice to have you here. It is early in the season. There is a long way to go. I think,
So I was weirdly
so I was thinking about this morning, and I'm like, had this been a situation where the Union were missing guys,
yeah,
maybe they had some early injuries or somebody was sick or whatever, and they were missing players. Like even when Julian Carranza missed, I'm like, okay, you know what? Sporting Kansas City, no Julian Carranza. It's fine. When he's back, they'll look better. They're not missing anybody. Everyone's there. Like the team is quote unquote healthy, and this is it. This is the group. Now, as we know, it is a long season. They can make some roster moves. Don't get me wrong, but the Philadelphia Union aren't one to typically make roster moves in the season like that.
Oh, well, wait. We got to go to second division Bulgarian soccer to find our replacements.
So that's where I'm like, what realistically can be done? It's kind of like I feel like we're banging our heads against the wall. The same cycle, same discussion, same issues, but expecting different results. Like there's nothing that drastically can change unless they actually bring somebody in like other teams have done. And when I look at a team like Portland, who they're actually going up against this Saturday night, very, very late Saturday night, Portland's out here making moves. They just waived their goalkeeper, Ivachik, who
I saw that, yeah.
They, of course, had brought in multiple goalkeepers. They had coming in the opposite issue. Granted, we did see Zemla come into the fold for the Union, so there was at least another goalkeeper addition. Portland had a whole goalkeeper battle because they brought in Maxima Crepu from LAFC, brought him over, who's obviously as one of the best goalkeepers, has won the Supporter Shield, has won the MLS Cup. Bring him in to raise to the level of the position. So now you're able to waive somebody like Ivachik. Then you also sign Jonathan Rodriguez from Club America, who comes in as a 30-year-old, comes in from a powerhouse Liga MX team that now can be inserted into your lineup and make a difference. As a DP, Cabecita comes over, can help out, can contribute right away. So when you have teams, even as soon as your opponent this upcoming weekend, making real changes, real moves that increase the positions, increase the overall team, making those additions, that is even more discouraging. Like I look at Portland, who's coming off of their last MLS game, they lost to Houston. That was back on March 16th. They, of course, had a game in between for the Open Cup where they lost, but they didn't play any of their senior team players. There was a lot of their youngsters that got some minutes. So it wasn't them. It wasn't fully Portland. It was a totally different team. But in their last outing against Houston, outshot them, outplayed them, were the better team, couldn't score. That's their first loss of the season. They now have a 2-1-1 record. They have been able to score 8 goals this season, only giving up 5, but they're generating a lot of opportunities. In each of their outings, they're getting a lot of shots, they're getting set pieces, they're creating, and they're steady improving. So in addition to the fact that they did have that one loss, you look on the reverse, and I can look at that loss and say, you know what? It is early for Portland. They're still working through some changes of the new pieces that they added. They're still adding pieces as we speak and trying to figure out what their identity is. So it's going to take them a little bit of time in this early part of the season. To me, that's more of the mindset of like early in the season issues. The Union, on the other hand, you have the same group as last year.
Yep.
You haven't made any major changes. So early in the season doesn't apply the same way. As we were looking at this matchup starter, I'm like, okay, we've got a hungry Portland team off of a loss, new additions, top of the standings, hungry to get back in the win column versus Philadelphia Union, who are without 8 guys, 6 of them starters on Saturday because of the international break. And yes, JP, 6 guys, starters, and we have the list. Andre Blake. In the back line, you're going to be without Damian Lowe and Nate Harriel. In the midfield, you're going to be without Jose Martinez, Jack McGlynn, and up top you're without, or in the midfield, depending on if it's 4-4-2 or 4-3-3, Daniel Gazdag. But then also on the bench, you don't have Jesus Bueno and Ty Baribo.
This is going to be a long Saturday, man. Those are just some key pieces there, Renee. This is every single international break we got to go through this. And yet we still don't really bring much of reinforcements, even though we know we have to go through this every single year. As we got Barbara, thank you so much for this comment. So she says that we do a great job pronouncing the names of the players, way better than her. Barbara, as you know,
I know I butchered and I apologize.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah,
it's not easy. But as Barbara, as Charlie O'Connor would say, you got to know these name pronunciations. So we are doing our best, even if we have to find it out too. And Kyle, thank you so much for that comment too. Yeah, so we still got to get used to this. It's just weird. I mean, honestly,
that's why that game I'm not even looking at the El Farolito game, because that was not the Portland Timbers, as I mentioned earlier. That was their youngsters, that was their academy guys. Congrats to them for El Farolito, because that was like a major moment for them. They said they were like popping bottles and celebrating. They were excited. They were thrilled. They're a small. Did you know that they're funded by burrito sales from a local restaurant?
There you go.
That's why they get the name El Farolito SC, and it's cool. Actually named after the burrito spot that sponsors them. So it was a huge moment for them to have a chance to beat Portland. But as we know, at Providence Park, it was not Portland. It was their Portland Timbers youngsters, their academy guys. It was them getting a chance to get their farm team some opportunities. So we're not even gonna like look into that game, but looking at their MLS game specifically, this is a good team. This
is. And so, like, look, it's hard to evaluate Portland, especially with this early in the season. They have a new manager. They've implemented some new pieces into this team as well. But, like, looking at this as a Union fan, it is extremely frustrating because every single year these guys mean business. They have been a consistently good team since coming into the MLS. And if they have a down year, you best believe that ownership will do what it takes to get back into the promised land or at least make the playoffs. Just fired Gio Savarese, who was there for God knows how long. He didn't win MLS Cup, but took him MLS Cup. But you guys get the picture. Like this, like they mean business, and every single year, like they find a way to build around guys like Diego Chara, Dairon Asprilla también. I said it también, but that's just kind of the point. Like, look at the all season you just talked about. Maxime Crépeau, bringing in Vander, bringing in Antony. The new signing here today, Jonathan Rodriguez, who I just saw in 8 seasons, 108 goals and 27 assists and 277 appearances for a club like Club America. This is the Yankees of North America.
I know.
So the frustrating part is Portland is by far a way smaller market, a way smaller sports market, and yet these guys are finding ways to put a competitive team, not having to go into Europe and having to try to convince the likes of Messi or Ibrahimovic. They have a system in place. They're spending money. Like bringing in Maxime Crépeau from LAFC was not cheap because Crépeau was probably going to go to Europe, and so they were able to get him. So that's dough that they had to spend. But this is like the frustrating part about the Union. Where is the same ambition? You obviously know how to build a good team. But you just need to spend a little bit more money. And so this is where the frustrating part is. And of course, like you just said, they just lost to Houston. That's a tough one. And Houston, as we all know, is going to be a good team this year. They make a big signing. They get a guy who knows how to score a couple goals.
You lose to Houston 1-0 in a game that they actually should have won.
Yeah.
And they did outplay Houston in that game. And that was truly the epitome of like, this is soccer. Sometimes you're the better team. Sometimes you outplay your opponent and it's just not your day and you lose. I don't mind that early in the season because, as you mentioned, then they turned around and you bring in a 30-year-old veteran that's got international experience at one of the highest levels with a very recognizable Liga MX club and a talented club that you can now add into your system. That is how you respond, by making major moves. You've got, across their roster, 5 or 6 guys that have already contributed with goals, led by Antony, who's got 3 goals on the season and an assist so far in MLS play. They've got Evander, Moreno, Williamson, Asprilla. They've got contributors. Options. They've got contributors, and it's more than just one person that's able to help them score goals. So Portland, this is a scary game, to be honest. I'm very nervous because we've been holding our breath for the last, couple of weeks, and you shouldn't start the season that way. It's kind of like if you guys have ever run in like a race, for example, or you start a game. I used to have some times where I start out a soccer game in the first couple minutes, I'm like, I'm tired. Like the game just started. Why am I tired now? I'm expected to play the full 90 minutes and I'm already tired. And you have to got to find a way to catch my breath. That's the Union right now. It's like, why are we tired already? The season just began. How do we catch our breath, though? How do they make this adjustment to reset? Because this right now doesn't seem like a practical way to run it through the entire season, given the fact that they definitely have a lot of pressure being put on these guys. And they already look gassed. They already look tired. And it's game time, guys. It's game time. And you know what else you can take advantage of really quickly before we get back to our previews in terms of game time? That's a Game Time app. So over with the app, when you download it today and use code PHLY, you'll be able to get $20 off your purchase. They make it very easy to make sure that you can find great seats, the lowest prices, and especially if you're looking to get some last-minute ticket deals over the Game Time app, you'll get a chance to see your seat, see the concert tickets, comedy show tickets, game tickets. And although we can't promise the game won't be stressful, we can promise buying tickets to go to it will be. So again, head over to the Game Time app, use that code PHOY, get $20 off, simplify the process of buying tickets. So now you can focus on having fun with your friends at that game, show, concert, being ready to sing, dance, laugh, cry, scream, whatever it is you're going to check out, all right on your phone, so you can find the best prices or lowest prices at least for those last-minute tickets to enjoy and have fun through the Game Time app.
Absolutely. And while we are there, let me tell you guys about our other sponsor in Bagels & Co. Guys, you know what I really missed while I was in Puerto Rico for breakfast? A bagel. Being all in Puerto Rico, that's the one thing I needed. Well, thank God I'm back, and thank God we have Bagels & Co. as our sponsor here today. We're talking about Brooklyn-style bagels, but the catch is they are made with that Philly love that we all know and love very well. And of course, with this time period that we're living in, inflation is a real thing and we're all feeling it. So why not save a buck or two and keep that belly full by using Bagels & Co. with their humongous size bagels that they have. It's a solid size bagel. And of course, they have a large variety of different bagels to select from, 15 to 20 different types every single day. We just went through St. Patty's Day. Did you guys check out that St. Patty's bagel? It looked pretty damn cool, guys.
Oh, yeah.
And with that, there's a large variety of different cream cheese and schmears to select from, 30 different types every single day. And like I said, with that inflation price, guys, affordable prices. Stop breaking the bank for breakfast. Check out Bagels & Co. right now. So what do you got to do? Head on over to the website, www.thebagelsandco.com/store locator to find your local Bagels & Co. Again, that's www.thebagelsandco.com/store locator right now. And thank you again to our friends over at the Bagels & Co.
Fantastic.
Absolutely. And we got Barbara. Yeah, Barbara, listen, we all can agree. International breaks are, listen, we love watching it, but the fact is that the MLS still has to play while we're going through the international breaks is so infuriating. Makes me want to rip my hair out. But we're going to have to deal with the lack of depth here, and that's the scary part about it. There was at one point, going out to the West as a Union fan scared the crap out of me. It's gotten better, but it's still not easy going over there. The travel, the time difference, like we talk about, jet lag is a real thing. It is not easy. It's like the one thing, like everyone likes to come at the MLS, and these players like to come at the quality. But when you have to consider, like, you know, traveling Philly to Portland, that's a long ass trip. It's like what, like Madrid to London, I guess. Like I don't even know.
So I did that flight when we played in Portland. It was about a 6-7 hour flight. Yeah. And of course you're losing 3 hours. I would say it was like 6 hours if I remember. That was a long time ago now, but I know California is like 5 hours. Yeah, it was like 6 hours. But as you mentioned, it's a whole different everything. Time zone. Portland's a different, like, the air quality. Like, it's weird. Being in the West Coast, being on the West Coast is tough. I know, Kyle, you're saying save a buck like Jay Sugarman.
Eat Bagels & Co.
Bagels & Co. That should be our new tagline. Listen, it's just frustrating because I just feel like every game now for the Union has been something different as a reason why we're just happy with the result. Yeah. You know, no Julian Carranza, so at least they got the tie. They're tired from CONCACAF Champions Cup, so at least they got the tie. Like, that's not good enough, though. Like, this weekend, the thing is going to be, they were missing 8 guys for the international break, so at least they blank. That's not enough. You are in season. These aren't scrimmages. These are regular season games that you're now just happy to just walk away from, and you're leaving points on the table. And Chicago, Sporting Kansas City, Austin, literally points on the table that you should be able to walk away with 3 from. So I just feel like when are we going to get to a point with the Union that there's no excuses, there's no at least in justification. They go out, they win, and that's it. Yeah. Or if they go out and lose or tie, you can just say, like, I wouldn't mind a hard fought, they play well, and they lose 1-0, 2-1. You know, at least it's like exciting, but these games have been frustrating. It's been exhausting. It's been boring at times. It hasn't been good soccer. They're defending for their lives, which is why someone like Damian Lowe and Nate Harry, you're seeing, even Kai Wagner at times, they're just kind of going through the motions. I think it's a lot, Andre. I think it's a lot on them right now. So I'm a little frustrated by the fact that here we are. Again, this is only game 4 since Seattle didn't happen. Game 4 of another regular season game that they should be able to play. There's not be any weather issues where it's like, we already had the excuses set up. It's the international break. They're missing 8 players. So regardless what happens, it's not their full team. Not an excuse, because you know what? No. Other teams have the international break affecting them too, and we'll see how their results go. I mean, looking across the league, I know Orlando's missing a lot of players too.
They do have a lot of.
They're going to have a lot of, different guys that are out. Duncan McGuire being one of them. Wilder Cartagena is another one that's out. They've got like 7 or 8. The Red Bulls are also missing a lot of guys. Corey Burke's going to be out. Daniel Edelman, Carlos Coronel. Everybody's missing players. Inter Miami, obviously missing players for sure. So I am curious to see, though, as we know, like Messi's dealing with a hamstring injury, and they're not going to have Federico Redondo and David Ruiz and Diego Gomez. As every team is missing players, Atlanta, Inter Miami, the Union, Red Bulls, who actually goes on and plays. Vancouver, there's like a lot of things going on with every team right now.
Yeah.
But that can't be an excuse.
It cannot. No, absolutely. It cannot there. So if I could just bring a little optimism to everyone.
Okay, I like it.
So
spin it.
The last time we played in Portland was the MLS Cup year. And it was a weird, wacky game. By the way, it's going to be a late night. So late night Major League Soccer, anything can really happen here. But we went into Portland in a place I don't think we ever won before. And we got the win. Julian Carranza, unfortunately, did get a card, which got him suspended for the following match, which gave us an epic gym clip that I'll always remember. But that, to me, that gives me the optimism that anything can happen here. And that was a game I remember vividly because I did not feel comfortable going into the game because we were in a rough spot leading up to that point, too. And it did not seem like it was going to be a win, but they found a way to get the win. So that's going to be my positivity for everyone out there, that it can be done. But obviously, you got to do your work out here in Portland, and obviously Portland are going to be hungry coming off of that Houston match, so it's going to be very interesting. But there is some optimism here, Renee.
There is, and I hate to squander your optimism, but I didn't realize this. I was just looking
oh boy,
at the stats because I was curious. I was looking, like, I know who scored this season in the MLS. I'm not talking about Julian Carranza's hat trick and against Peace and everything. In the MLS, there's only been 3 players that have scored for the Union. I didn't realize that because Daniel Gazdag's goal against Austin was his first since opening day against Chicago. So he's got 2. Mikel Uwe actually has 2. And then Ali Bedoya obviously had that late game heroics of scoring the equalizer against Sporting Kansas City. And so when I was on the website, it was like leading scores. And when you look here, it's like Marcus Anderson, 0. I never, and even the assists are the same thing. There's only 2 guys that have assists. So Anderson and Ty Baribo are listed on the top assist holders.
That's not good.
Because there's nobody else. So it's like Jose Martinez and Quinn Sullivan are the lone ones that actually are in the books for assists. It's just, it's the same stuff that we've talked about time and time again, unfortunately. But I will say, hopefully, this is maybe the wake-up call needed, that they need to add some more depth. They need to add veterans. They need to add pieces. And we just saw Portland do it. It's possible. It's possible to spend money. It's possible to bring in a player that's going to have the opportunity to help now. And they need somebody. They need some fresh legs. They need a fresh voice. They need some change because this group right now, 3 games in, going into game number 4 of the MLS specifically, it's not encouraging, that's for sure. But Dan, what's up, Dan? I know you're saying you feel everything Julian's putting down. Yeah, I mean, there's been some great points made. I just feel like everybody's feeling that sense of fatigue right now, almost around like what can realistically change for the Philadelphia Union to help them get goals, get a win. Yeah,
no. One thing I did want to highlight here, some more optimism for everybody.
Okay.
So we're talking about call-ups, right? I don't know if anyone noticed, but for the Olympic team for the U.S., Nate and Jack were called up. But the most consistent player for the Union this year did not get called up in Quinn Sullivan.
I know.
So Quinn, like Renee, I was looking at some of like his like advanced stats here. Like shot creating actions, 2.80 per 90. Assists, 0.19. Expected goals, non-penalty, 0.17. Like when I watch Quinn, he's obviously all over the pitch. And he's taking those gambles as well. And there was also a play, too, where Austin could have gone on a breakaway in that first half, and Quinn Sullivan recognized that and ran all the way back to clear the ball and pass it back to Andre Blake. His IQ has increased this year. his confidence has increased, and we talked about him marrying to that position. Like, this is the one positive as well that we got going forward, because now you have an extra piece in the attack. But this team has to play like a cohesive unit. Can't just be Quinn, can't just be guys, it can't just be Ua. It has to be the collective unit. But it is important to note, as we go into Saturday, someone to step up. Quinn has been the guy who's stepped up every single match. So definitely expect Quinn Sullivan to step up here. And this season has to continue for him because he's been playing extremely well, the most consistent player in 2024.
And I think that's what the team needs to do is if you're not going to bring in new guys, you need to find who in-house can you rely on. Like, control the controllables, focus on, it is still early in the season. Let's maybe, the team might need some time to do, I don't know. I'm not involved in everything obviously going on behind the scenes, but this to me seems like a great time. Get away from soccer, maybe go do some like mini golfing or something. Like, do something as a team that's fun. Do something that's going to allow them a chance to get a break, refresh together, some team building that's light and fun. But then also on the pitch, find a way to build around Quinn Sullivan, who's playing well. Julian Carranza, of course. Like, I would find those guys and try to figure out a way to get others to also be able to raise and elevate, because the reason why Quinn has been playing so well is he's just playing hard. He's just showing effort. He's out there. He's, as you mentioned on that play, but we see so many plays of him making the run, challenging, competing, working hard, playing aggressive. It's not rocket science. It's not him doing anything spectacular where he's like having this beautiful touch and making these like highlight reel types plays. He's just working his butt off. And that's the biggest difference. You're seeing Nate Harriel, Damian Lowe, Kai Wagner, Jose, they all have stretches of it. They're kind of that next group but where you can see some of the wear and tear affects them at times. But for the most part, they have that too. But you need more of that. You need to have that from, if Mbaizo's out there, for Ua and Gazdag for sure. Jack McGlynn has times where he kind of disappears a little bit. Like, you need more guys that are just going to bring you the intensity, the aggression. So I would start in this stretch. Like, this weekend. There's not much you can do about the fact you're missing 8 players. It is what it is. But I would use this, and I know it was said earlier, Julian was actually mentioning this, as a chance to get that next group going. Maybe you can pull something out of a Marcus Anderson or Chris Donovan. Maybe you can get something out of them that can help add, because you need more from everybody. Like, everybody has to raise how much they're chipping in, because right now it just feels like it's 1 or 2 guys that you're seeing consistently playing. So I hope that this weekend is that reset. You're taking it's their 3rd straight road trip. You're out on the West Coast, maybe go do some sightseeing or do something. Like, I wouldn't even focus on, I hate to say this, the result of this weekend as much as I'd focus on using this as a chance to really help catapult them to play better as a team, play a little bit more aggressive, and make this a turning point.
Stress the fine details, and the rest will come. I like that, Renee. I wanted to look at Dan's comment here. So Quinn has unquestionably been the Union's most consistent player, but he has to play at the 8. Enough of playing him at top.
Oh, yeah.
So here's my thing. So after Carranza and Ua, who would you trust up there? I know we love seeing Marcus, but like Marcus is also a little bit, he's still a little bit of a question. Like, you've seen the work ethic, but obviously, like, we need goal scoring. And we're talking about a goal scorer at top. I'm looking at Quinn. Like, that's the one guy that I trust. I love Quinn at the 8 because he's playing really well there. He's married himself to that position, like we keep talking about. And so, but he also has that attacking prowess. And so, like, that's the one guy that I just unfortunately do trust over Chris, or even, like, we talk about Ty, but we haven't really talked about actually Taiwo Aribo.
We haven't seen him.
I mean, he's playing for Israel, though.
Yeah.
He's getting minutes for Israel.
Yeah,
not getting minutes
another
for the
weird
U.
situation.
It's
another
one.
really weird, like, what? Why can't Taiwo Aribo help? Why can't Jesus Bueno get more minutes?
So this is another frustrating part of being a Union fan. So I don't know if you remember a couple years, in 2021, ironically.
Yeah.
Matheus Davo. Renee, I saw him for maybe like 6 minutes in a Union uniform out there.
I feel like Taiwo Aribo actually, I like his game. I haven't seen him much outside of Israel, but like, I like his game. I wouldn't mind seeing him get some minutes. I don't know what's going on there. It's weird, honestly. It's very weird. And I just feel like there's guys like Matt Rial and Leon Flock, they've been dealing with injuries and stuff. Okay, so be it. But like, Taiwo Aribo is a really weird situation there. Yeah,
and it's just frustrating because, like, I trust Jim, I trust the coaching staff, they're doing what's right, but like, it's just tough because we don't know, we can't even see him play. Like, we don't know what exactly is wrong, and you're bringing in these guys in the summer where you're looking for a quick reinforcement. But, Ty is in his first full season with the U, and he's like nowhere near to be found in that depth chart.
None.
And that's definitely the frustrating part.
To Dan's point, we haven't seen him. Like at this point, so that's why I say this weekend's result wouldn't even matter to me. Obviously, Ty's not going to be playing with the Union. He's one of the guys that's away. But I would use it as a chance to get like everybody, as many players in as you can. You don't want it to be ugly. You don't want it to be another 6-0 game. But they very well could go out there and play the quote unquote best guys and still lose 6-0.
That's true.
So I would use this as a chance to get Anderson going, Donovan going. I wish Ty Baribo was playing with them. Get him going. See who else you've got, because you gotta try to find those diamond in the rough guys that you can maybe give you. It might be 10, 15 minutes now that might grow, that they can give you more minutes as the season progresses. But the Union with this group, they don't have it. It's not enough. So I really do hope that we get a chance to see Ty Baribo in the future when he's back with the squad. I agree with the point of Quinn in the midfield. I like him a lot better at the 8. But I do feel like you just need him to be involved. He's got to be somebody that he's in the midfield, allows him to just go, allows him to just play freely, versus up top where he's not getting as many touches, he's not finding the ball as much. But I would definitely run with Gazdag even up top, Marcus Anderson, definitely, of course, Carranza and Ua, Chris Donovan. Like, I try to figure out how can we get the best rotation out of that group? Who's going to give us the most energy, aggression, making runs, looking to score? And definitely when it comes to Ty, my fear is exactly what Dan's mentioning, that's become some of the Pereira, because it's just a weird... he was giving some minutes. He was playing a little bit, and then he's just they never get him out there. Yeah. Even 6-0 games and stuff. Like, put him out there. Let's see what he can do. He's on the roster. It's odd.
It is absolutely weird here, but we're gonna have to wait and see. One player we know we won't see though is Kevin Sullivan.
Kevin in the future.
My man's off the city. It's gonna be with the citizens. Renee, this is the most wildest story in Union history because this is surrounding a child.
It's weird.
It is very weird. But look, he's legit. You watch him play. Even like those little clips you saw with you two, like during preseason. Come on, the kid is absolutely legit. But I know like a lot of us would love to see what he could look like in just the senior team, like just for even like a couple of matches, like a la Cristiano Ronaldo when he was with Lisboa. But this is the business, guys. And like, this is something the MLS generally needs to look at. Not saying that they should do it, but this is something that they do need to look at, because a lot of those other leagues around the world will spend huge money. Like Brazilian players around Kevin's age, they go for a lot of money. So like if the MLS wants to keep some of these young prospects and be like this youth academy type of league where they're a bunch of selling teams, you might have to dish some dough for some of these young players. Now, we can debate whether that's the right thing or not. I personally, I feel a little weary giving a 14-year-old kid like over $1 million.
I know.
That's a lot of freaking money. But it is a wild story. We need some more details. What's going to happen for him before 16? Because obviously he can't play in England until 18. It looks like he'll get loaned out to Lommel at 16,
correct,
which is the correct age for Belgium. But he's 14 right now. So what is he going to do for the next 2 years? That's going to be the next question mark we wait for. But this is a crazy story.
It's so crazy. And there's a couple factors here. One, of course, is his talent is remarkable. And I know I've always been one that believes put people in the best environment that allows them to flourish and thrive. I don't care how old he is. If he's talented enough and he's going to be dominating at the even Union 2 level, put him at a level where he can get challenged, get tested, get better. But then also make sure you're fostering an environment that allows him to be able to, in a healthy way, get better. Because as you hinted about the Nickelodeon documentary that just came out, I was watching the interview that Drake Bell was giving about the abuse he faced when he was 15 years old.
Man.
And this is the reality of the world that we're in. A lot of kids, and this is my concern, not just for Kevin, but for anybody, there are a lot of kids, especially that as they're put into these opportunities as a child actor, a child musician, a professional athlete, they're exposed to drugs, alcohol, abuse, traumatic things. And you hate to see somebody's talents and their passion lead to trauma.
Yeah.
And so I want to just give my flowers to Mana Shim from Gotham FC in the NWSL, who's one of the women that came forward and speaking about the abuse that was happening in the league at the hands of, her then coach. Paul Riley and speaking up about it. And she's also been a part of the U.S. Soccer Federation Safety Task Force. She's a chair member there, and she's been actively working with Safe Sport to provide a space where not only can, and it's all ages, it's not just 14-year-olds, it happens at all ages, at all levels, abuse and toxicity. And so they've been coming forward with these protocols to allow athletes to be able to speak up and safely, without having to worry about any reprimand or anything like that, consequences, be able to speak up, and also just implementing ways to protect athletes at all levels. So I'm hoping that as we see the change in the Kevin Sullivans of the world, and there's more, there are others that are already playing professionally that are children getting to play at a high level, that we're also going to continue to see more being implemented to provide a safe space for everyone. Children, adults, black, white, Spanish, male, female, doesn't matter, that everybody has a chance to safely play sports, because unfortunately there have been so many stories that we've heard and are still hearing about these talented, superstars, talented kids that are exposed to things. But for Kevin specifically, am excited to see what his career can lead to. It is so weird to think he's only 14 years old and he's already getting the type of recognition, the offers, the opportunities to play with a team like Manchester City, to be a household name, to have so much pressure even on him. So that's the other part of it, is like, I really just hope they allow him to still be a kid and enjoy playing soccer before you jumping into between endorsements and everything else that can come with it. Like, let him still be a kid and enjoy the game before it becomes too much of a job, because that also can burn you out in a sense. So there's so many factors here, but I think most importantly, it's, as you mentioned, a major change that the MLS is going to have to consider. How do we properly provide these academy opportunities to continue to transcend talent-wise in a safe way, continue to transcend talent-wise in a financial way that supports them as well? What does that look like? But it's a lot here. It's just a wild, wild story to think of a 14-year-old. Not the first, won't be the last, though. And Kevin Sullivan, that's this talented.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because like, we don't kind of look at the human aspect as this.
We don't.
And obviously, like, you bring the great perspective because you were a player. But like, even like Renee, myself at 14 years old, I was just worried about going home and playing some video games like that. It was like simple like that. But Kevin now is like thinking about his career at 14 years old, which is wild to think about. But like you said, so important to protect these kids, not just in the MLS, but around the world. Because like I mentioned, in Brazil, like, this is the business that it is, like, selling these kids. And it's very sick, to be honest with you. But I'm very happy that you did bring that up. And so we'll have to wait and see. And you brought up like the learning experience. Like, Renee, like, there's been no Union prospect has ever gone through this. And so this is going to be a learning experience for the future Union. Because I'm telling you, the way this academy is going, we're going to get some more players close to the quality of Kevin Sullivan. So it's going to be a learning experience for everyone. I'm happy for him. I'm like, this is cool. Like, you're going to be able to play one day for Man City.
It's a dream for a lot of people. And I just hope it continues to be a dream and doesn't turn into something where they're like, overly exploiting this kid or trying to take advantage of him or something. Because there are people that are so excited. You see it with managers and mentors and the people that are close to you, sometimes even family members, that are just so desperate for the buck, the money, that they'll, whatever. So at 14 years old, I am at least appreciative of the fact that he does have Quinn, and he's got older brothers that are involved, and obviously their middle brother as well. But you have Quinn, who's already a professional athlete. Hopefully their parents are very involved, because he's very talented. He's very talented, and it's wild to think about, but it's also something that hopefully we can sit up and say, I remember when Kevin was 14 years old, and now Kevin Sullivan's 28 years old and, winning golden boots and whatever else. So I'm looking forward to seeing
10 years from now, we'll see him on Saturday mornings playing for Man City in the Prem. It should be a lot of fun, and we could say, we saw him. We saw him.
Exactly.
Before we sign off, do you have a final score prediction in Portland, Oregon Saturday night?
No. But I do have... And I just want to throw this out there, because there are other teams that are getting goals and production from guys. Okay. And there was already the MLS dropped, and this is my last thing before we wrap up. The MLS dropped names of like some guys already in the conversation for the Golden Boot. Okay. You have Acucha Hernandez, who already has had 3 goals and an assist in his first 4 games of the season. Must be nice. You've got Christian Benteke, who for DC United also... has been great, had a hat trick in his first game, has only played in 1 match, but did have a whole hat trick in a game. Luis Suarez, of course, who, as we know, has been hitting the ground running with in Miami. He also has had 3 assists with a league-leading 7 goals. And Messi, need I say more? Messi, who of course is Messi, so he's scored 3 times in his 3 starts. Even with LA Galaxy, they've got a young one in Dejan Joveljic, who also has been a great player off the bench for them, JP. Off the bench for them.
Bench production?
Producing. And he has had a few goals already, including like immediately scoring as he walks onto the pitch, essentially. Off the bench, guys. Off the bench. Just want to throw that out there again. And then with Atlanta United, they've got Yorgos Giacomakis, who's also been scoring a lot. And has 4 goals through Atlanta's first 3 games, averaging 1.4 goals per 90. So if you're getting contributions around the league, you're getting goal scorers. I don't know that we're going to get a goal scorer for the Union this weekend. I could see this being like a 3-0 loss for the Union. I'm going to just say I'm going to be polite and keep it at that, because I could see this going a lot of different ways. But it's great to see that other teams have guys that are contributing and scoring, and I'm hoping that this weekend can be a turning point for the Union, for the good, for the better. Let me be very specific. A positive turning point for the Philadelphia Union, that they can go out there, have a hard-fought game, surprise people, get some strong performances from some other contributors, walk away, maybe you score a goal, and it's like 3-1, 3-2. Who knows? That's my goal, is results aside, that they have a great game and just surprise people with how they can produce without 8 players during the international break.
I'll say this, like, if they want a result Saturday night, those first 15 to 20 minutes are extremely important.
Good point.
When you are the underdog like that, you have to start off quick. Like, there's no way you can wait until, like 75th minute. All right, let's turn up. Let's get this game tying goal. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't rely on those laurels this upcoming Saturday. So keep an eye out for those first 15, 20 minutes. I think the Union do get their 4th draw to start the season. I'll go with a 1-1 draw here.
I
think the Union will get that goal and then just clamp down. But it's gonna be the Timbers, and we all know Timbers. And what do they call him? Timber Jack now? They keep changing the Timber guy. But yeah, I don't want to see those logs get cut, please. So let's give it a 1-1 draw, Union. What do we say, huh?
We say it's going down. I'm yelling Timber. You better boo.
All right, with that catchy note, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for this edition of PHLY Union Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning on in. You guys know what to do. Hit the like button, subscribe for everything Philadelphia Union and Philly sports as well here on PHLY Sports. You can find us through Stream Podcast as well. PHLY Union Podcast. That is Renee Washington, Tyler Zulli behind the glass. And of course, I'm JP Zapata. We'll see you next time, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.